The 3rd year of my marriage to William. He was 35. I was not yet 21. Just starting my senior year of college. I hadn't even decided if I wanted to become a full-time housewife. Then I overheard him chatting casually with a group of industry big shots. Jessica's only asset is her youth. Compared to her, Ophelia is way more intellectual. I'm starting to regret this marriage. It would have cost so little to just keep a young mistress. Now getting a divorce would mean too much loss. The next moment, I handed him the divorce agreement. Seeing the clause in black and white stating I'd leave the marriage with nothing, he let out a long sigh of relief. Then he said with fake generosity, "I'll transfer you $20 million as compensation." I smiled and declined. I'm young, I can afford to play the long game. What he didn't know was that my older brother is a rich heir. All these years, the only reason he could climb into the elite circle was thanks to my brother's support. Getting a divorce? His losses were only just beginning. Chapter 01. Senior Year Internship. Just to catch a glimpse of my handsome husband each day, I resolutely joined William's company. As a regular entry-level intern, I kept such a low profile that William didn't even know I was there. I didn't want to annoy him or distract him. From time to time, I'd overhear other interns talking about William Hahn. I'd quietly listen but never say a word. Chairman Hahn is so handsome. 35 is totally a man's golden age. Too bad he's married. And to some no-name young girl, apparently. Ugh. Why can't I be that lucky? When I was 18. William, trying to show how serious he was, told me on our first date that he wanted to marry me. He gave me an engagement ring on the spot. I responded with enthusiasm. We got our marriage license after just 1 year of dating. Impulsive and head over heels. Sweet and blissful. He gave me a fairy tale love beyond imagination. The love of a CEO, direct and overwhelming, flooded into my life like a tidal wave, leaving me utterly swept away. If I hadn't come to intern at his company, maybe I would have never discovered his secrets. Ophelia, William's secretary, sexy and beautiful, the classic mature woman. She often traveled with William for business trips and attended banquets with him. She handled all kinds of company affairs, and knew the business even better than William himself. So naturally. Before anyone knew William was married, everyone in the company assumed Ophelia was the real boss's wife. Even in the cafeteria, I'd hear veteran staff gossiping. Chairman Hahn must be blind. A stunner like Ophelia at his side and he doesn't appreciate her. Ophelia gave up an executive position at a publicly listed company just to be Hahn's secretary. Mark my words, once the honeymoon phase ends, Chairman Hahn is bound to divorce his wife and be with Ophelia. There were tons of rumors. I never took them seriously. After all, William and I still had passion every night, until one banquet where Ophelia, drunk, confessed her feelings to William in front of everyone. Though calling it a confession was more like forcing William to choose. She asked William if he had feelings for her. William stayed silent for a long time. Then Ophelia asked again, "If you don't care about me, why won't you approve my resignation?" William's expression darkened. He replied with a single word, "Yes." Then, he looked deeply at Ophelia and added, "I do care about you. I can't live without you. That's why I can't approve your resignation. Is that okay?" Ophelia smiled, downed a shot of liquor on the table, grabbed her bag, and walked out. The room froze for 2 seconds. William chased after her. Everyone at that party had been with William Hahn, and Ophelia moved through thick and thin over the years. I wasn't there, but a chubby girl I was friendly with, a total gossip lover, secretly recorded the whole scene and sent it to me. She messaged, "What do you think will happen between Chairman Hahn and Secretary Mu tonight?" I replied, "Probably nothing, right? They're grown adults. They've known each other for years. Their feelings run deep. They drank. There was a confession. You really think nothing's going to happen?" I firmly typed back, "Chairman Hahn is married. He should have boundaries. And Mu has no reason to be a homewrecker." You're probably right, but we'll know for sure tomorrow. I didn't understand what she meant by "we'll know tomorrow," but the moment I exited that chat, I already had my answer. William sent a message saying he wouldn't be coming home tonight. He had a last-minute social engagement. My heart sank. I immediately called him. At first, no one answered. I called several times in a row. Only then did William pick up. "Baby, My phone was on silent. I didn't hear it. What's wrong? I held back my emotions, my fingernails already digging into my flesh. Honey, are you really not coming home tonight? Yeah. It's a party. Everyone's here. I can't leave now. Try to understand. Baby. I clenched my teeth and asked, are there any women at your party? He paused, then chuckled. No. Since when did you start checking up on me? Want a video call? I can prove my innocence. While he spoke, I heard rustling sounds, the kind made when high-end dress shirts rub against hotel bed sheets. Once upon a time, when we were madly in love. That sound was familiar, too. A muffled sound escaped from William's throat, and in that instant, all the turmoil in my heart dissolved. After 3 years with William and countless nights of passion, I knew exactly what that sound meant. It was the release that came at the height of pleasure. That tiny detail, he probably didn't even realize it himself. Good. Now I didn't even need to stop him from cheating. He already had. I let out a bitter laugh. No need for the video call. I didn't want to blind myself. Enjoy yourself. I'm going to bed. My heart was dead. I was about to hang up the phone, but then William spoke again, his voice low and hoarse. Baby, we just closed a major deal tonight. Starting tomorrow, everyone will be working overtime. I'll probably be working late for a while. Don't wait for me for dinner. Working overtime? Or spending late nights with Ophelia? It didn't matter anymore. Chapter 2. The call ended. I didn't sleep all night, with dark circles under my eyes. I arrived at the company. My mind was still blank when the chubby girl came up to me, eager to continue gossiping about last night. Something definitely happened between Chairman Han and Secretary Mu last night. I frowned slightly. Then I heard her say, this morning, Chairman Han's clothes were all wrinkled, and he was still wearing the same outfit as yesterday. Doesn't that mean he didn't go home at all? I nodded and forced out a weak compliment about her attention to detail. She continued, Secretary Mu was late this morning too, but she came in glowing. Usually she's sharp and efficient, but today she was like a whole different person. I asked, what do you mean by a different person? She thought for a moment and replied, more radiant. More seductive, more girly. Just look for yourself. I looked up. Ophelia walked in wearing a tight, body-hugging skirt. I'd seen that skirt before, when I went shopping with William. I had picked it out, but they didn't have my size. So I asked the sales clerk to hold it and send it to William when it was back in stock. Looks like the skirt did arrive, but the recipient had changed. Ophelia was in a great mood. She walked in and asked everyone what they wanted to drink, her treat. Everyone cheered. I sat in the corner, a mess of emotions inside. I tried to numb myself with work. It didn't help. By lunchtime, I was eating takeout at my desk. Ophelia, on the other hand, was carrying several fancy food bags into William's office. Once she went in, she stayed the entire afternoon. When she finally came out, it was evening, nearly time to clock out. The chubby girl next to me clicked her tongue twice and sighed. Morals are really going downhill. Of all the people Mu could fall for, it had to be a married man, Luis, who sits closer to the CEO's office, said Mu threw herself into Chairman Han's arms the moment she walked in. The office almost turned into a hotel room. After saying that, the chubby girl even sent me a photo that Luis had secretly taken. Ophelia was sitting on William's lap, feeding him lunch. Their body language was nothing short of intimate. I wonder how Chairman Han's wife would feel seeing this. The chubby girl sighed quietly. Manager Wang, who sat across from us, frowned. Let them be. If the man and the mistress are both willing, what are you meddling for? The chubby girl didn't catch the sarcasm and joked. Exactly. Not like his wife even counts as the main one. Manager Wang was clearly annoyed. He grabbed a thick checklist and tossed it at her. Since you have so much free time, finish this. You're not allowed to leave until it's done. The chubby girl was immediately deflated. I quietly messaged her, Manager Wang and Secretary Mu go way back. He's clearly on her side. Better not say stuff like that again. She replied with a crying emoji. I comforted her. I'll help you finish the checklist. Let's get it done fast. And I'll treat you to spicy crawfish later. She perked up again. That evening, The two of us finally finished the overtime tasks and were just about to head out for crawfish when Manager Wong called us again. "You two worked hard. Let's grab a late-night bite together." He didn't give us any chance to refuse. And just like that, we were taken to a restaurant near the office. After dinner, he led us straight to karaoke. We weren't exactly willing, but we had no choice. As interns, our voices carried little weight. Sitting in the dark corner of the karaoke room, the two of us started playing Honor of Kings on our phones. We got so into the game. We didn't even notice more people had entered the private room, until I heard a familiar voice. That's when I looked up and saw William seated in the main seat, surrounded by a group of industry bigwigs. At first, they talked about business. Then the topic shifted to personal lives, wives, kids, in-laws, parents, and of course, mistresses. I saw Ophelia's new post on her moments. Something about true love finally finding its way. "What's up? Did you finally give in and take her under the sheets?" someone asked. I couldn't help but perk up my ears. William responded flatly, "You don't know what that situation was like." I had no choice. Ophelia was pressuring me, said if I didn't want her, she'd resign. You all know how long she's been at the company. The place literally can't run without her. Or rather, I can't function without her. So Ophelia's fine being the mistress? William, don't let this blow up in your face. Seriously, remember how much effort you put into marrying that little girl? We all saw it. Forget how stable the women on the side are. If the one at home finds out, won't it be chaos? Come on, Ophelia's fine with it. Why should the girl at home care? After being pampered by William for years, how can that young girl just go back to living an ordinary life? Even if she finds out about the mistress, she definitely won't make a scene. She's got the Mrs. Han title. After all, at least she'll never worry about food or money. That's status. Everyone chimed in, one after another, and the consensus was, as long as William kept Ophelia from making a fuss, the one at home wouldn't stir up trouble. They even congratulated him for having the best of both worlds. The chubby girl listening beside me wrinkled her face in disgust and whispered, "Gross." Then added, "Even though Chairman Han is being a complete scumbag, they're not entirely wrong. That little girl's not even graduated yet. Has no family background or skills. Kicking up a fuss really wouldn't do her any good, right?" I nodded. She won't cause a scene. In this society, people care about appearances. Everything can be talked through calmly, even divorce. At that moment, William put down his glass and said, "Yeah, Jessica's only asset is her youth. Compared to her, Ophelia is much more refined and intellectual. But Ophelia's got that proud and temperamental streak. I don't know how long she'll be able to hold out. I'm starting to regret getting married. It would have cost so much less to just keep a young mistress. But now a divorce would come at too high a price. So that was what he was calculating, his losses. Makes sense. William and I are legally married. A divorce would mean splitting up his post-marriage assets. So be it. William, let it be as you wish. I can walk away with nothing. But the price of me walking away with nothing, he'll have to pay it too. Chapter 3. Not until everyone had left did Ophelia come to pick up a drunken William. From a distance, I watched the two of them holding each other, lips pressed together. Perhaps it was all the pent-up emotions. The moment they got into the car, it began rocking up and down. I silently recorded the entire scene. Then, I called my brother. "Little sis, what are you up to? How come you're calling me so late?" The sound of my brother's voice instantly touched the softest part of my heart. Plop. I couldn't hold it in. Tears fell one after another. "Sweetheart, what's wrong? Are you crying?" I choked up, unable to form words. My brother immediately asked me where I was. I gave him an address through muffled sobs. Half an hour later, he appeared in front of me. I was curled up on the sidewalk steps, my body trembling. He took off his jacket and draped it over me, then sat quietly by my side. "Where's William? He cheated on me." My brother froze, his jaw clenched tight. "Where is he? I'll kill him." I grabbed his hand and shook my head. "No need. Doing that would only dirty your hands." Furious, he stomped the ground hard, but it still wasn't enough. He asked me, "Are you getting a divorce?" I nodded without hesitation. Is there any chance it's a misunderstanding? I showed him all the photos and videos I had saved on my phone. I didn't have to say anything more. My brother had already made up his mind. He immediately pulled out his phone and made several calls. First, to a lawyer friend of his, to draft a divorce agreement for me. Second, to William's suppliers, telling them to cancel any contracts not yet signed, not renew any expiring ones, and revoke discounts on active ones, everything now to be transacted at full market price. Once all the calls were done, he took my hand. Come on, let's go home. I shook my head, tears still hanging at the corners of my eyes. Before going home, I want to move out first. Without hesitation, he drove us to the marital home I'd shared with William. The house was bought by William. There wasn't much I felt attached to. Still, after living there for 3 years, I never imagined I'd be leaving this way. If you want this house, I'll hire the best lawyer to help you get it. No, don't bother. GE. Anything that's touched by William honestly just feels filthy now. Chapter 4. After moving out of the villa, I wanted to wait for William to reach out to me, then I'd confront him. But unfortunately, a week passed, and he still hadn't noticed I had moved out. All I received from him were the usual daily messages like, "Working late today, no need to wait up." But in reality, I saw him out and about with Ophelia every single day. The chubby girl, ever since calling Ophelia a mistress, had been constantly picked on by the department manager. Her workload piled up. I couldn't bear to watch her suffer alone, so I chose to work overtime with her. When we stayed late at the office, we could always hear those kinds of sounds drifting from the CEO's office. The chubby girl couldn't help but complain. "Chairman Han is so stingy, he won't even pay for a hotel." I forced a bitter smile. Maybe doing it in the office has more ambience. Sometimes, just passing by, I couldn't help but record a few explicit clips and save them on my phone. Something told me they might come in handy later. While sticking it out with the chubby girl, working hard through overtime, we finally reached the end of the internship period. The chubby girl told me she hoped to stay on permanently. It's hard to find a job out there. Even though I kinda hate Chairman Han, a girl's gotta eat. I wished her all the best. Then she asked if I wanted to stay too. I told her I just wanted my internship certificate and to get away from this mess as soon as possible. But I never expected to get backstabbed by a friend at the very end. I became the only one in the entire internship team who failed to meet the standard. I refused to accept it and asked the department supervisor why. He only said it was Secretary Mu's decision. I thought Ophelia had found out about my identity and was targeting me on purpose. What I didn't expect was that the chubby girl came forward to confess. That day I called Secretary Mu a mistress. I don't know who overheard me, but the word got out. These past few days of endless overtime, it wasn't Manager Wang, it was Mu punishing us. I was totally doomed. But, because you always stayed and worked late with me, she broke down in tears. I really need this job. I'm not as pretty as you, and I'm not as smart either. So I went to Mu and put the blame on you for that mistress comment. I thought, at worst, she'd just refuse to let you stay. I didn't think she'd go so far as to deny you your internship certificate. I ruined it for you. I'm sorry. I smiled, out of sheer anger, a little at being betrayed by a friend, but even more at Ophelia, abusing her power for personal revenge. It's fine, I forgive you. Don't cry. Thanks for being a good friend these past weeks. I hope you have a bright future ahead. I finished speaking and grabbed the documents I'd prepared long ago. Ready to leave, the chubby girl grabbed my hand, looking hopeful. Then about Secretary Mu, I said calmly, "Don't worry, I'll take the blame." Then I lifted my head and shouted across the entire office, "Ophelia is a mistress. What? Are we not even allowed to say the truth anymore?" Immediately, everyone in the office stopped what they were doing and turned to look at me. Their eyes were filled with shock, and I, clutching that failed internship report, strode straight into the conference room. At that very moment, all the company's senior executives and department heads were in the middle of their morning meeting. My arrival was obviously untimely. The executives all frowned, displeased by this brash, clueless intern barging in. Well, of course, I'd been married to William for 3 years, and not a single person in his company knew what Mrs. Han even looked like. Not even Ophelia. among everyone present. Only William looked slightly surprised when he saw me, but he didn't say a word. The first to speak was the meeting's host, Ophelia, with her head held high. That elegant, mature face of hers showed clear disdain and impatience. What could be so urgent that you had to interrupt now? I didn't bother being polite and asked, Secretary Mu, is it because I called you Chairman Han's mistress that you decided to sabotage me by refusing to issue my internship certificate? Everyone in the room looked at Ophelia, slightly stunned. Ophelia's expression froze for a moment, probably not expecting such boldness from a mere intern. She narrowed her eyes and said, Since you already know, why bother asking? There was no point in her denying it. The company had plenty of rumors swirling already. To silence the gossip, someone had to be made an example of. And in her eyes, I was the perfect scapegoat. I stared back at Ophelia and raised my voice. I'm sorry, Secretary Mu. I shouldn't have called you Chairman Han's mistress. Ophelia's face turned a little awkward, but she still stood there with her arms crossed, feigning authority. Now you apologize? It's too late. I turned to William. His face had darkened. He was clearly displeased. But what did he have to be displeased about? He was the one who threw away his own dignity first. I sneered. Too late? Not at all. I'll make things right for Secretary Mu right now. I pulled the door wide open and raised my voice even higher. Secretary Mu is, of course, not Chairman Han's mistress. In ancient times, to even be considered a concubine, one had to be formally accepted into the family, with rituals and permission from the legitimate wife. Mu hasn't gone through any of that. She's just an outside woman who wouldn't even be allowed to enter the Han family shrine. My words turned Ophelia's face from green to pale. Everyone else in the room suddenly realized who I was, including Ophelia. All eyes turned to William. William was furious. After a year of dating and 3 years of marriage, this was the first time I'd ever seen him truly angry. Have you caused enough of a scene? Had I? I would have loved to keep things dignified, but you didn't let me. I only have one request. Give me my internship certificate. William was seething, his chest rising and falling rapidly. He tried to hold it in and still defend Ophelia. Whether an intern passes is up to the department supervisor. You shouldn't be asking Ophelia, you should speak to your direct manager. Ophelia looked unsteady on her feet, but hearing William defend her gave her a bit of boldness. Yes, exactly. I'm just the chairman's secretary. I don't decide internship outcomes. What a fake. Both of them were fake. The company belonged to William. Whether I got a certificate or not, it was his decision. And the fact that he said what he did proved he didn't care about my dignity or my side of things. He only wanted to preserve Ophelia's image in front of everyone. The moment he opened his mouth, I understood. William never planned to stand by me. Not from the beginning. Perfect. I met William's eyes and said, without hesitation, what if I trade you this divorce agreement? I pulled out the divorce papers and placed them squarely on the table, then added, I'll walk away with nothing in exchange for one internship certificate. You come out ahead. Chapter 5. William's net worth, if not in the billions, was at least in the hundreds of millions. Walking away with nothing meant I was giving up a lot of money. It wasn't just Ophelia and William's expressions that shifted. Even the board members sitting in the meeting room suddenly looked brighter. Someone took the lead in walking out, and the rest soon followed. These people were close with both Ophelia and William. Naturally, they wouldn't change their opinions for an outsider like me. In fact, they were pleased that I was giving up my claim. After all, without me taking a slice of William's wealth, his status would remain secure, and Ophelia could dedicate herself fully to William and the company. William, I'll step out. You two talk. But William took Ophelia's hand and stopped her. No need. Stay. We've got nothing to hide. How noble. Disgusting. I thought I'd braced myself mentally, but seeing them holding hands in public without a care still stabbed me deep. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions from unraveling. I pushed the signed divorce papers in front of them. William didn't even look. He handed them straight to Ophelia. Take a look. Can we sign this? Ophelia accepted the papers, her lips unable to hide a pleased smile. After reading for a while, she said to William, It's a clean break. No assets. We can sign this. She handed him a pen. William didn't take it right away. Instead, He looked at me. Are you sure you want a divorce? What else? I'm not a garbage bin. I don't exist to collect trash. Think about it. Divorced women don't exactly have an easy time finding quality partners. Ophelia, she's not that intolerant of you. He really had the nerve to say that. It was laughable. I glanced at Ophelia, whose expression didn't look too great either. Someone who can tolerate me wouldn't deny me a basic internship certificate. Ophelia forced a smile, about to argue. I didn't give her the chance. Enough. I know what you both think of me. Go ahead and paint me as the villain, as the third wheel who came between the two of you. I don't care, right now. I only want what I deserve, a certificate for the 3 months of work I did here. As for these two, I hoped they disappeared from my life forever. Just as Ophelia's eyes were beginning to water, William finally signed. The divorce papers were in duplicate. We agreed to register the divorce officially after the 3-month cooling-off period. At the same time, William personally stamped and handed over my internship certificate. Once I had what I came for, I turned to leave, but William called out to me again. Jessica, you were too impulsive today. I'll transfer you $20 million as compensation. I said, thanks. Consider that $20 million a wedding gift in advance. Don't say it's too little. Seeing that the divorce was really happening, Ophelia found her voice again, much bolder now. Jessica, $20 million is enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life. Stop being dramatic. If all I wanted was to live comfortably, why would I bother with a divorce? Actually, with that logic, maybe I shouldn't leave. Ophelia choked on her words, probably scared I might really stay. She wisely shut up. William took a deep breath, speaking like some wise elder. Jessica, you're still too young. I've spoiled you too much these past few years. I replied calmly. Exactly. I'm young, so I can afford to play the long game. What's a divorce? Really? It's just a round trip. I'm only 21. The road ahead is still long, and I'll walk it however I damn well please. Chapter 6. Back home, my brother was busy, so my sister-in-law took me out traveling, shopping, and relaxing. Gradually, my mood started to ease. If William hadn't shown up at our home, I might have almost forgotten he existed. From upstairs, I saw him standing outside the door with gifts in hand. My chest still tightened just a little. Ever since your brother cut off William's supply chain and ended cooperation with his company, my sister-in-law said, that woman, Ophelia, has been coming around often to try and negotiate discounts and profit terms. But she knows her place, being a woman. She never comes to the house. She usually waits for your brother at the company, but he rarely gives her a chance to meet him. Now that William's company is probably having real problems, he's had no choice but to come himself. So, do you want to let him in? She must have seen something strange in my eyes. That's why she asked. I shook my head. Forget it. My brother's not an impulsive person. If William could really offer more value than anyone else, my brother would have chosen him, but he didn't. She nodded thoughtfully, and added, he's only doing this because he's worried you might still care. There's nothing left to care about. Since the divorce agreement, he hasn't even called me once. That already says it all. He doesn't care about me. So why should I care about him? Whatever my brother decides to do, I'm fine with it. As long as you've moved on. My sister-in-law sent William away. But the next day, William came again, this time with a different set of gifts. He was thoughtful, meticulous with the little details. He knew how to make himself seem like a warm, dependable man. For a full week, William came every single day. When he couldn't see my brother, he would wait at the door, sometimes for the entire day. Honestly, if he were here to win me back, I might have softened and let him in. But unfortunately, it was just for business. Eventually, my sister-in-law called my brother, asking him to deal with William quickly, so I wouldn't have to see him and get upset. My brother understood the assignment. He didn't expose our relationship directly. He simply sent someone to William's company to explain why William was no longer his best option. William took it gracefully. After that, he stopped coming to wait at our house. But fate has its sense of irony. I still ran into someone I didn't want to see. At my brother's company's new product launch event, many business elites were invited. I had nothing better to do, so I tagged along for the excitement. My sister-in-law suggested I dress up brightly. I didn't want the hassle, so I just wore my usual casual outfit. My plan was simple, eat and go home. But just as I was eating, someone shoved me from behind, causing the soda in my hand to spill all over a socialite's expensive dress. I immediately began apologizing. Then the culprit spoke up. Mrs. Lin's dress must be really expensive, probably a lot to pay for. Huh? That voice sounded all too familiar. I turned my head and saw Ophelia, clad in a red dress. I hadn't seen her in a while, but she'd become even more unbearable. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Lin, how much was the dress? I'll pay you back. Mrs. Lin was busy wiping herself off and was just about to respond when Ophelia cut in. Mrs. Lin's dress is a custom limited edition. It costs over 100,000 yuan. Can you even afford that? Mrs. Lin frowned, then immediately pulled me behind her protectively. Miss Mu, I'm not blind. You're the one who shoved this young lady, which is why her soda spilled on me. I haven't said a word about making Jessica pay. Why are you sticking your nose in? Her voice wasn't quiet. People nearby turned to look. Ophelia froze. She hadn't expected to dig her own grave. I stood there smirking coldly. Ophelia thought I was just some powerless nobody. But Mrs. Lin was a close friend of my sister-in-law. She had seen me more times than I could count. Even without my brother's or sister-in-law's influence, she had watched me grow up. There was no way she would ever take Ophelia's side. Ophelia swallowed hard. I was just saying hello. I didn't shove her. Mrs. Lin gave a cold snort. Please, I know exactly what I saw. Anyway, I wasn't going to make you pay for the dress. I know you're tagging along with some soon-to-be bankrupt man, with no title or status to speak of. You must be tight on money. Ophelia's jaw clenched. Just a few words from Mrs. Lin, and her eyes were already starting to water. Chapter 07. Maybe the commotion over here was too loud. My brother walked over as well. What happened? Before I could say anything, Mrs. Lin gave a concise explanation. My brother narrowed his eyes, staring at Ophelia, his tone almost commanding. Apologize. Everyone knew Ophelia had something to ask of my brother. At this moment, she couldn't afford to care about her pride. She clenched her teeth and forced out the words "I'm sorry." But she was probably still unconvinced. Then she remembered my brother had completely rejected her offer for collaboration. So, she added right after, "Sir, the woman next to you is nothing but used goods. I wonder if your wife knows how much fun you've been having behind her back." My brother let out a cold laugh. If you've got the guts, go tell my wife. Let's see how she reacts. The people around us all scoffed and then dispersed. After that, I stayed right by my brother's side, enjoying good food and drink. That kept the clueless people from getting anywhere near me. As for Ophelia, after being humiliated by my brother, she tried to reach out to other business partners, but everyone seemed to be in on something, not giving her even a chance to speak. Even the business cards she handed out were casually tossed to the ground. This was probably the most humiliating moment in Ophelia's entire career, until William arrived, with red-rimmed eyes. She complained to William. William comforted her for a while. Then, he walked toward me. My brother frowned and asked if I wanted him to kick William out. I shook my head. No need. I want to see what he has to say first. Brother, go ahead with your business. I'll call you if I need anything. My brother got the message. He immediately walked away from my side. William now sat across from me. His eyes still sparkled like stars, just as dazzling as before, but there was a visible exhaustion on his face. Looks like his company has been having quite a few problems lately. Jessica, long time no see. What William didn't know was that just last week, I saw him begging shamelessly at my doorstep. So this is your choice? I was caught off guard. What choice? Being someone's mistress. Turns out, he misunderstood my relationship with my brother. I raised an eyebrow. He curled his lips, eyes full of mockery. You'd rather be someone's side piece than stay as Mrs. Han? Is that fun? I went along with his words. It's all right. Not entirely pointless. His tone grew heavier. Stop messing around. I'm going to pretend I never saw that divorce agreement. Come back to me, and you'll still be Mrs. Han. I suddenly laughed, not even understanding why. What are you talking about? He took a deep breath and said, You want revenge on me? I get that. But don't be so childish. Using your young body to trade for a man's temporary affection is meaningless. You'll get nothing out of it. Dorian isn't right for you. He's never going to divorce and marry you. Don't waste your energy. Dorian was my brother's name. I quietly waited for William to continue. During the time you left me, I didn't contact you. I just wanted you to suffer a little. But I didn't expect you to go to such extremes. This was my fault. But Ophelia worked herself to the bone for the company, bearing immense pressure. 90% of the projects we've landed were thanks to her. I need her. You should understand that. Instead of doing what you're doing now, staying by Dorian's side to retaliate against me, that's just petty. Just a few words. It looked like William was admitting fault, but he had no intention of changing the outcome of having a woman in each arm. I curled my lips into a smile and replied, "There are a few things you might have gotten wrong." "What things?" I idly played with the fruit platter in front of me, twirling a fruit fork carelessly. Then I said, slowly and clearly, "Most of those projects Ophelia signed, they came from the coup group, and the acting head of the coup group, Dorian Coup, is my brother." William's brows furrowed deeply. "That's impossible. You don't even have the same last name. Our family practices name equality. My brother took my dad's surname. I took my mom's. If you don't believe me, should I call my brother and sister-in-law over to confirm?" William froze. "So those projects Ophelia signed in the past were actually because of you?" I chuckled softly. "That's right. My brother did it to support his brother-in-law, because of me. Now that his sister is divorced, there's no more brother-in-law to support. Honestly, you made a fortune over the past few years. But it brought my brother a lot of trouble." His face darkened. I continued. "Blind expansion, ignoring product quality, constantly demanding bigger profits from coup groups' discounted prices. If it weren't for this divorce, honestly, I wouldn't have realized just how many of my brother's employees were suffering." At this point, William pressed his lips together. All those negotiations were handled by Ophelia. I didn't know I wasn't interested in hearing his excuses. Instead, I opened a video and played it for William. In the video, Ophelia was holding arms with a fat, balding man in his 50s, walking into a love hotel together. They were laughing and chatting. The man's hands were roaming freely all over Ophelia. William's face turned completely dark. I offered a word of comfort. "You should recognize the man in the video. He's a supplier from Group C's district. Ophelia truly loves you." "Huh? As for me, I don't think I could ever go that far. So treasure her. I wish you both happiness." Chapter 08. After leaving the banquet hall, I hadn't even made it home when my brother called. "After you left, William left too." Ophelia chased after him, and they got into an argument. William pushed her to the ground, no hesitation. No trace of chivalry. "William's a ruthless guy. Good thing you saw through him." I asked calmly, "Brother, how long do you think William's company can last?" My brother did a quick calculation. "Maybe 1 or 2 months. Maybe a year or 2. Depends on whether William gets another lucky break. He's capable, but he's not good at judging people." Aside from that, Ophelia, the senior staff at his company aren't any better. In fact, compared to Ophelia, those people would eat him alive if they could. True. Thinking of the people in William's company, they had no sense of right or wrong. Full of flattery and sycophancy, they were bound to drag William down. Graduation day. The chubby girl also returned to campus to pick up her diploma. I ran into her. She looked noticeably worn out. Seems like her time at William's company hadn't gone well. She saw me and greeted me, but I ignored her. Still, she wouldn't give up and blocked my way, apologizing again and again. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me, okay? I really didn't mean it back then. I was helpless. I accept your apology, and I accept you're sorry. But for us to be as close as we once were, isn't that too difficult?" Her eyes turned red, and she understood what I meant, but she still told me what had been going on at William's company. Chairman Han's company has declared bankruptcy. The board dumped all the debt on him. Turns out, those board members had leaked confidential company info to competitors beforehand as bargaining chips to jump ship. Chairman Han's basically cornered now. And that Secretary Moo, she got caught in a sex scandal. A group of wives of top execs ganged up and beat her in the company. I was stunned and intrigued. The chubby girl went on with more gossip. Ophelia's bones were broken in the fight. There wasn't a single good spot left on her. She was furious and tried to force William to marry her to shut people up. But William refused. He even personally released the hotel video of Ophelia and the old man online. Ophelia lost her mind, claiming everything she did was to save William's company. William didn't appreciate it. The two started cursing each other out. In the middle of it, Ophelia raised her hand first. William hit back, hard enough to smash the office desk. After that, Ophelia left the company. William took over her business responsibilities and began running around making contacts. But the results, well, you can imagine. That's all the gossip I heard before I got laid off. The company couldn't even pay severance. Now I have to job hunt all over again. I gave the chubby girl a business card, told her to find the person listed, and they'd arrange a job for her. She was overwhelmed with gratitude. After saying goodbye to her, I actually felt a bit emotional. Maybe it was just surprising how fast everything had changed. 3 months passed. William and I arranged to go file for divorce. Outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, he appeared in a perfectly tailored suit, holding a bouquet of flowers, with tears in his eyes. He apologized and admitted fault, begged me to give him another chance. I completely ignored him. When we were together, he didn't cherish me. Now that I've left, he pulls this pitiful act. Jessica, I was blind. If Ophelia hadn't seduced me first, I never would have done something so stupid. I love you, only you. His so-called devotion reeked of cheapness. From the moment we separated until now, if he had reached out even once, I might have still thought about what we used to have. But all this time, not once did he try to contact me. He was arrogant. He was proud. He thought I couldn't live without him. So he kept holding that posture. He probably even expected me to accept all the mistakes he had made and the ones he might make in the future. That's why he kept stringing me along. Put simply, if he and Ophelia had done well together, he would never have regretted divorcing me. That kind of refined egotist, just the thought of it was disgusting. I looked at him and handed him a business card. This is the contact info of my best girlfriend. Her dad works in the Provincial Construction Bureau and handles procurement. He could be a huge help to you. She just turned 18 and has always wanted a gentle and caring boyfriend. I think you fit her standards. Why don't you give it a try? William took the card, and his eyes flickered with light. You think she'll mind that I'm older? As soon as those words came out, I laughed. William's face darkened. See? Just a tiny little test. And he couldn't take it. And yet he claimed I was the only one he'd ever love. What a joke. He quickly realized his slip and tried to backpedal, clearly trying to steer things back to his real goal, getting back together. No, I meant, do you still mind that I'm older? I want to reconcile. Let's not get divorced. Okay? Jessica, I mind. I rejected him openly and directly, leaving him momentarily speechless, unable to continue his sentimental act. I advised him, let it go. Get the divorce first. If you manage to please me later, who knows? I might introduce you to more of my high society girlfriends. Some are older, but they've got good technique and look decent. A little touch up and they're more than presentable. His cheeks flushed slightly. God knows why he was blushing. But in any case, he should have understood now. There was no possibility left between us. After finalizing the divorce, William actually chased after me, asking all about the preferences of the girl on the business card. I made up something on the spot, then told him I was in a hurry and he should contact her himself. Once I got in the car, I immediately received a call from William. He was fuming. Jessica, what kind of business card did you give me? When I called, they asked if I wanted half service or full service. What the hell is 300 per session? 800 for the night? I was stunned. Oh, so that's what it was? No idea who left that on my car window. I just grabbed it and gave it to you. Jeez. It was just a joke. Don't get mad. Getting mad gives you wrinkles. Us rich women like men who are mature and charming, not ones who look old. You know. William cursed me out over and over. I simply hung up the call and blocked all of his contacts. After graduation, faced with the choice between taking over the family business or going abroad to further my studies, I thought it through and chose the latter. It's way more fun to enjoy life every day. Let all those business world betrayals and power plays be my brother and sister-in-law's problem. I just didn't expect to run into someone familiar at the airport while waiting to board. It was Ophelia. She was wearing a face mask and clinging to a 70-year-old man, calling him baby. She spotted me and had the nerve to come up and talk. She asked me if I knew how William was doing lately. I answered her. She gave a faint smile. Oh, I heard someone gave that bastard some advice, and he really managed to sneak into the rich women's circle. I told him to marry me, settle down, and rebuild. He could have made a comeback. But no, he looked down on me for being broke and insisted on cozying up to sugar mommies. She put her sunglasses back on. At the end of the day, you really should thank me. If it weren't for me, who knows how long that scumbag would have dragged you down. With that, Ophelia walked away. I raised an eyebrow. On my phone, a video was still playing, William doing a striptease in front of my circle of girlfriends. TSK TSK. Just like a dog, I sent a message to my girls group chat. 1,000 per drink. Do me a favor, destroy him. Chapter 09. I studied abroad for a few years. Life was easy and enjoyable. I had already forgotten everything that had happened back home, but it was by chance. A friend took me out to a bar. That's where I saw William performing pole dance on stage. In that moment, I thought I was seeing things, because it was someone I used to know. While drinking, I couldn't help but glance his way a few more times. I saw young girls throwing money at him and forcing him to drink. I also saw him, shamelessly, begging rich young women for money. I couldn't help but sigh. I really had been blind in the past. After paying the bill, my friend and I headed home. William, calling out for customers at the entrance, got a drink thrown at him. He humbled himself to the ground, apologizing to the guests. As he looked up, he happened to catch a glimpse of me. Jessica, he spoke. I curled my lips into a slight smile, took out some spare change from my purse, and handed it to him. His body stiffened. I was already in the car. In the rearview mirror, he stood frozen in place, motionless. No one knew what was going through those eyes that had lost all their light. But in the end, there are things in life where regret simply comes too late.